Record. Welcome everyone to our Mental Health Ambassadors second annual showcase celebration of successes. We're so fortunate to have you here, and it's so very fortunate to have our mental health ambassadors who we get to celebrate today and all that they've been doing this past year. We can move to the next slide for our agenda. So what we'll do is I'm going to give a little bit of an overview to share with you all about our mental health ambassadors and just to frame it, and then have some welcoming and opening remarks from Dr. Watts. We have a video message from Dr. Watts and a video message from Dr. John Jones. And then we will move into hearing from Dean Blanton, Associate Dean Christine Hertz-Weischek, Dean Irwin, Dr. Angela Stowe, and Herbert Wilkerson, who all have been major contributors to us being able to have mental health ambassadors, and so fortunate for you supporting our efforts. And then we'll move into sharing about student initiatives and having our leadership team doing sharing about each of the initiatives. So next slide, please. So I just want to recognize Dr. Angela Stowe, Director of Student Counseling Services, and Juhi Agrawal, who at the time was an Honors College student and Student Director of Active Minds, for helping really launch our program, our Mental Health Ambassadors program, as part of an Honors College Faculty Fellows Initiative, developed in partnership with them, and really so appreciative of the Honors College and Dean Blanton's vision in supporting these efforts. And so next slide, please. Since the beginning, we've had much growth and you'll be able to see this, and really sort of necessitated us having a wonderful leadership team. And so I want to recognize our leadership team. We have Destiny Cravens, who is our overall student lead. And then what we've done is parsed out the initiatives that we offer and have a lead for each. So we have a presentations lead, and that's Madeline Cook. An events lead is Dua Ashi. And then social media lead, Hannah Smid. And then our outreach lead, which is Lavanya Jayshankar. And again, want to recognize Dr. Stowe for her ongoing commitment and support for our Mental Health Ambassadors program as our Director of Counseling and Services. And then Herbert Wilkerson, who has come on board and helped do a lot of our trainings, as well as providing support as a staff advisor. So many thanks to them. So again, we all know what Mental Health Ambassadors is. As a peer-to-peer mental health promotion program, centrally we focus on general mental health, self-care, and resiliency. We've done trainings in the fall of 2019 and the fall of 2020. And what we're going to share with you are the initiatives that we've had from essentially spring of 2020 as of our showcase of last year through now in terms of social media presentations and events. Wanted to just give you a little bit of data here to share that in 2019, we shared this at the last showcase. So we have 4 trainings that we do. We have a Mental Health Matters, a QPR, active listening and motivational interviewing, and then program design, which are all led by Student Counseling Services. And in 2019, you can see across the board how many attended our trainings, starting out at 87, then 61, and 53, and then 55. And you might think with it being COVID-19 and all of this stress and strain and just trying to figure things out, that the numbers might have been much lower. And in fact, as you can see here, they were much higher. And our first one with Mental Health Matters, we had 135 participants, which I'm not sure how many voluntary events on campus that were held via Zoom that weren't mandatory or part of class or something like that, where you really had students just voluntarily coming to. So 135, we were really impressed with that. And then with QPR training, 116. And I just want to reiterate that the QPR training is something that's so vital to our students for them to learn be able to recognize signs of distress and what to do, and being able to ask the question of, are you considering suicide? And so regardless if they became mental health ambassadors, you can see here that we have 176 students between each of the fall trainings who have become certified in QPR training. And I think that in and of itself is a huge accomplishment, and much thanks to Dr. Stowe and Consuelo Click for really overseeing those QPR trainings along with their staff, and just really appreciative of that. And then with the active listening and motivational interviewing, having 70, again, that's a huge number to have anyone coming voluntarily to. And then 60, and that's really where you get to the who's gonna stay in the long haul, who's come to all of these trainings, who is really gonna like design a program. Of course, you get just general training on how to design mental health promotion programming, but as you can see, the numbers did go down, but still very impressive. To the left, you can see how many we've inducted in the fall of 2019. We inducted 40, in the fall of 2020, 31. And with all of the trainings, and not with all of the trainings, with all of the initiatives that we've done, since the beginning, we've had a documented over 1,000 UAB students, faculty, staff, friends who have attended our mental health ambassador initiatives. And I just want to really pause and think about what that means and how many lives have been touched by our students as this peer-to-peer mental health promotion program. And just really appreciate the steadfast servant work that they've been doing since the beginning. So thank you. Next slide, please. Oh, I hope it, can you hear? I wonder if it's gonna play. Can you click it?
Can you guys hear it, or do I have to share my sound?
I think you need to share your sound, please.
Okay.
And maybe restart it because it looks like he's still. Yes.
Our Blazer spirit is alive and well in so many ways across campus. It's a wonderful time to see the important work of our mental health ambassadors and the impact you're having on our UAB community. Thank you so much for your service in this important way, and go Blazers.
Thank you. And now we'll have a word from Dr. John Jones. Uh-oh.
Technical difficulties, 1 second.
Okay.
It doesn't look like it was embedded properly.
Okay.
I can,
Blazers, my name is John Jones and I serve as your Vice President for Student Affairs. Your contributions as
Well, that may have been a bad idea.
okay, it's really okay.
Blazers, my name is John Jones and I serve as your Vice President for Student Affairs. Your contributions as mental health ambassadors have made a significant difference within our campus community. The daily virtual workshops, yoga, meditations, daily social media posts, weekly newsletter, YouTube channel have been an important way for students to not only have access to education and events, but to also help students practice and grow their coping and resiliency skills. We are also appreciative for your work in providing critical peer support during COVID-19. UAB leaders are very proud of the Mental Health Ambassador Initiative and your efforts to advocate for mental health awareness and education at UAB. We look forward to seeing this program grow and expand in the future. Thank you for your service and efforts to support the UAB community and to help strengthen our resiliency as a community.
Thank you, Duha. So now hear from, and we have the agenda here to just go in this order, if that's okay, and hear from Dean Blanton.
Thank you, Dr. Lanzi. I appreciate that. Hi, everybody. How are you doing tonight? It's great to get a chance to be with you and to celebrate the Mental Health Ambassador Showcase. And, you know, being able to spend the time with everybody, I think, is an important part of the contributions that you guys have made this year, because you've helped to provide connection to students. And I will tell you that I follow your Instagram account as well. And so I've really appreciated all of the social media tips that you've offered through the year. I think it's really important that you guys have focused on changing the narrative about mental health, particularly in terms of its impact on student health. And I want to thank Dr. Lanzi, who's been an honors faculty fellow for the past 2 years, and Dr. Angela Stowe of the Student Counseling Services for their vision and their commitment to this unique peer-to-peer mental health promotion program. You guys have worked tirelessly this year. I've seen a constant stream of material from the mental health ambassadors. And I think it's really important that you focused on destigmatizing the concept of mental health and promoting overall health awareness. Last year, when I talked to you before the pandemic, this program was so very important. But I think in the backdrop of what we've been experiencing this year with the increased stressors brought on by the pandemic, that what you've done is even more important. You've educated us about mental health. You've talked to us about the various ways to think about mental health and the stigma that is attached to it. You've talked with us about a sense of community and belonging. And I think that's been really, really important this year, as we've all been sort of by ourselves and on our own so much of the time. And you've provided ways for us to manage stress and ways to seek help. And all these things are really critical. I'm sure that you all know that mental health has suffered during the pandemic. And I think that by having this program and this outreach to the UAB community, to the larger community, that you've really made a positive contribution to help us all get through it. And so to all of you who are involved with the Mental Health Ambassador Program and are mental health ambassadors, I want to say that I'm really proud of you and that I'm proud of your accomplishments and your interest and commitment to promoting good mental health. And I urge you to continue to make a difference in the lives of others. You are shining examples of what we in the Honors College have as our mantra about how to set your world on fire. And so I want to thank you for your commitment and your contributions. Thanks, Dr. Lanzi.
Thank you, Dean Blanton, for those really encouraging words. So appreciate you and your support. Dr. Hurst-Weisscheck.
Sorry, my space bar wasn't working there. Hi, folks. It's such a pleasure to be here with you. It's been such an inspiration to see the mental health ambassadors grow and flourish over the past 2 years, and goodness knows it has been vital. And so I echo what Dean Blanton said with regard to how much we have needed you during this time and how much you have benefited the students. You've made such a huge impact with this program, and I'm especially inspired by how you have empowered the students to help not only themselves, but to help each other with the peer-to-peer program. And emphasizing peer support is just so important, as we know. So I have to say, as my performing arts folks like to say, bravi tutti to the students. Congratulations to you for all you have done, and know what a vital difference you have made. I also wanted to extend my personal thanks to Dr. Lanzi, who has helped me when I've reached out on my students' behalf by providing a wealth of resources. And not only the resources through the mental health ambassadors, but the resources that are available through the community. And know how appreciated they have been and how appreciative I am for your help. And I'd also like to echo the impact that your social media program has made. I have colleagues across the country who have contacted me and said, wow, what a great job the Honors College is doing with the mental health ambassadors. And they pick up the memes and share them with their students. So your reach goes far beyond just UAB. So I've been truly grateful to be part of it. Thank you for having me join you for a few meditations here and there. And I look forward to the continued growth of the mental health ambassadors. And Dr. Lanzi, you have certainly set the bar for the faculty fellows. So congratulations and thanks to you for all you've done.
Thank you, Dr. Hurst, Vice Chair. And yes, thank you for all of the wellness Wednesdays that we did, Focus Fridays, Mindful Mondays, where you provided our guided meditations for 15 minutes and then really 15 minutes of discussion. And so you really have played a vital role on our initiatives and offerings. And so very much thanks to you as well. So thank you for your kind words and all that you do to support us. Dean Irwin.
Thank you, Dr. Lanzi, and good afternoon to everyone. Great to see all of you. Dr. Lanzi, I want to thank Dr. Stowe and my fellow deans for their support of this work, but mostly to you students for this incredibly important work that you've been doing. You have truly brought mental health concerns out of the shadows and into the full light of day. And that's over half of the battle right there. As Dr. Blanton mentioned, you're destigmatizing mental health concerns, mental health challenges has been hugely impactful. This has been an incredibly stressful time, not only for students, but for faculty and staff as well. And any contribution that any one of us can make to the well-being of the collective is an important contribution. Preventing one untoward outcome in terms of mental health is worth all of the effort that you've all been providing. So again, I want to thank you for this work. In the School of Public Health, we have a motto. It says, be somebody, make a difference. Those of you who have had classes in the building have seen this painted around and placed in various locations in the building. But that's exactly what you've done. And I want to celebrate that with you. And thank you again for taking the time and for making the effort to go this extra step. This is not something that any of you had to do. This is something that you saw as important as a way for you to be somebody and make a difference. And indeed you have. So again, I want to thank all of you students for everything that you've been doing. And I wish you all the best as we begin to wind down the spring semester. Go Blazers.
Thank you, Dean Irwin, and thank you for your continued support. Dr. Stowe.
Thank you, Dr. Lanzi, and good evening, everyone. What a delight to be here to celebrate just all the wonderful accomplishments. I'm really excited about the showcase. I get so inspired when I just see it all presented with all of your enthusiasm and passion. It really is inspiring. You really have made an impact. I don't know that I could say it any better than our senior leadership have already shared with you. You have made yourself known on this campus as champions of mental health. You have changed our culture. You are working to impact lives on a one-on-one level, as well as on a community level. And then as we learned, there are other schools paying attention. You're impacting things on a society level as well. And we really do know that mental health is a public health concern, and you're hitting all of those levels. So I'm super proud to be part of this initiative that has been the vision of Dr. Lanzi, and a project of hers that has grown in a way I don't think we ever imagined that it would. And so congratulations for the work that you've done. Continue to take care of yourselves as you're telling others to take care of themselves. It's so important right now. But congratulations. I'm so very proud of you, and I'm excited about what we're going to learn more about this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Stowe, very much. So appreciate you and all that you do for us as mental health ambassadors and helping partner with me throughout the entirety of our program and providing all of your support. Herbert Wilkerson.
Hello, everybody. And it's an honor to be a part of this program, to be a part of it in the beginning and see it where it is now. You all are change makers on campus, and somebody who prides himself in, campus outreach and advocacy when it comes to mental health. What you all do from the different perspectives you do it from, it's so important, it's so needed, and it sounds different when it comes from a student perspective. You're able to speak to each other in ways that we can't. And so what you do is important. And as you heard, even before me speaking now, I really enjoy being connected to you all, and I will enjoy to continue to be connected to you all. And I say this all the time, and I mean it every time, is, if you need to process things when it comes to, doing your work as a mental health ambassador, or just ask questions in general about how to navigate, what you do, I'm here to help. I always encourage taking care of yourself, because doing this work is heavy lifting. It's passion work, but passion work can also burn you out. And so take care of yourselves, help each other take care of themselves, and continue to do good work.
Thank you, Herb. We so appreciate you. You always are that shining light for us and always helping support all of us. So we so appreciate you and your continued support. Before we get into our initiatives that have launched this fall, I wanted to share what the initiatives we've done since last showcase, because we didn't stop with our showcase over the summer. We continued on. So if we can go to the next slide. And it began with having a full week of exam week supports. We were so fortunate to partner with UAB Rec and Artists in Medicine, so we were able to provide exam week supports, and then weekly events in May that you can see here, again, through what we call Treat Yourself Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Hurst Vicecheck, sharing our virtual yoga Mondays, and of course, having our daily social media and recordings of what we did on our YouTube channel. Next slide, please. And in June, we had, again, Mental Health Mondays, Treat Yourself Tuesdays, Wellness Wednesdays, and Virtual Yoga Thursdays. And we launched on our Mental Health Mondays a number of new initiatives where we could share really about services that were on campus. And so we had a Cognito demonstration as the first one. We had Disability Support Services share what they do. And in the next slide, I'll talk about our student mental health discussion. I think where Herb, as he shares, kind of found his passion for being a moderator. And so just so fortunate to have him help us lead a student mental health discussion at a time when we all were searching and all looking to a need to support each other and discussing life events and what was happening and continues to happen with the pandemic, racial injustices, health inequities. And so very fortunate. We'll talk about more about that in just a second. And then sharing about student counseling services, and then in the community about the Crisis Center and the services that they have. Next slide, please. And here, as I mentioned, the student mental health discussions. And so we were very fortunate to have a partnership with GROW, the Graduate Student Resilience Outreach and Wellness Program, along with Active Minds, and to partner to sponsor the student mental health discussion to talk about how national and global events were and continue to impact students' mental health, and what supports are available to support them. So in both of these, we did one, as you can see here, June 15th of last summer in 2020, and we just had we're calling them second annual discussion on April 2nd, and both of which moderated by Herb, and having panel members across the campus who could share information that are available and for our students to support them as they are addressing mental health needs. Next slide, please. And again, I really want to recognize our collaborations with the University Recreation Center and providing us with virtual yoga and also doing a number of events for us. They've really partnered with one of our teams for this fall that we'll talk about, but just their continued collaboration with us and supporting our mental health ambassadors' work, as well as the artists in residence who have presented beginning in the spring and through the fall weekly events, and that were just really amazing to see the different art forms and how they can support mental health. Next slide, please. And here's just some wonderful examples of some of our mental health ambassadors who during the summer we did what was called Mental Health Ambassadors, or MHA, in the kitchen, and sharing just some fun things that you can do in the kitchen. Another fun initiative dreamed up by our mental health ambassadors and launched during the summer, and that is continuing to be on our Instagram pages. Next slide, please. And just wanting, again, to recognize our YouTube channel that hosts all of our events there to share, and recognizing launching also a podcast called Archive, Our Lives, Our Journeys, Our Stories, that started this earlier and now has grown, that we'll get into, but wanting to recognize that starting after our showcase last year. We were fortunate to, at the beginning of the academic year of 2020 in fall, to offer some welcome activities, as you can see here, and really sort of sharing some of our presentations that we had developed before: the self-care strategies while staying at home, how to help a friend, dark humor, coping mechanisms, and then healthy and unhealthy relationships. So we offered those as presentations, and thankfully again had Dr. Hurst Weischek with guided meditations, and then our collaboration with Artists in Medicine and their work and sharing about different art forms and mental health. So now I'm excited to hand it over to our student leads who can share about our new initiatives and our new inductees and what they are doing. So first, we will have social media presented by Hannah Smith.
Hey everyone, I'm Hannah. I've really had the opportunity to work with practically everyone in this organization, because everyone at some point needs either like a flyer for events or presentations, or just like social media campaigns. And it's been really exciting to work with you through these projects and see how you guys grow. So I'll go ahead and go on to the next slide. So first we have the Mental Health Misconceptions group. They previously worked on the Self-Care Sunday social media campaign. So this semester they focused on the different myths and misconceptions for different mental health topics. And they did a really great job in breaking up the information because there was so much to cover. So they often started with just an overview for a certain topic, and then doing another post in that same sub-series, focusing more specifically on those different misconceptions. And they had different topics like general anxiety disorder, bipolar disorder, depression versus sadness. And they had some really great content and really effectively communicated it as well. Next slide, please. Okay, Adi spearheaded this project on his own, and he did a really great job and focusing on raising awareness on both disability and mental health stigmas, since it's really important to show that kind of intersectionality between different topics. So we hope to increase accessibility to different resources on campus by sharing those through his social media posts. And he also focused a lot on person first language, which is where instead of leading with a description of a person, you start with the person themselves, which really helps to humanize the person and help to decrease the stigma around disabilities. Next slide, please. All right, next we have Artsy Saturday, and this was a larger group, but they really took initiative because they posted weekly instead of doing every 2 weeks, so that was really great. They actually transitioned from doing the online Zoom events last semester with the artists in residence to doing a social media campaign where they were able to really spread their information that they learned even more. And so they had some topics like de-stressing and movement and music, and they even created different playlists that they put on our YouTube, like different just like de-stressing vibing music or like theater songs, which was really cool. And they also were able to embed some videos into their just like traditional posts, which was really cool to kind of break up the feeds and kind of do something a little bit different, which is really cool. Next slide. Thanks. All right, next we have Minority Mental Health. They continued their social media campaign from the last semester, which focused on the mental health stigma associated with different specific communities, like the Hispanic community, which is important because different communities may have different barriers to access mental health resources and care. And they even made a post reminding people to practice self-care during the election season, because that was also a really stressful time for people. Next slide, please. All right, and lastly, we have the Resiliency Among Different Professions group. And they were previously the Thriving Thursday group from last semester, where they promoted positive news, since often news can be oversaturated with negative content. But overall, I'm super proud of everyone who posted on social media, not just the groups that I've talked about today, but all the other groups for events and presentations, because like I was just looking back at the feed today, and I feel like we've really grown in our ability to be consistent with our quality and theme, which has been really great. And you guys also have improved on your submissions, like I'm not having to send back as much feedback anymore. So good job, guys.
Thank you so much, Hannah, and thank you so much for your leadership with the social media teams. It is so impactful, and you're doing such great work. Okay, and next we'll have presentations, and Madeline Cook, our presentations lead, will share.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Madeline Cook, and as previously mentioned, I'm the presentations lead for the Mental Health Ambassadors Program. So for this semester, there are 3 mental health ambassador presentation groups. So they brought light to the following subject matters. So first is Deconstructing the Romanticization of OCD group. So mental health ambassadors Vivian and Victoria initially joined the program at the initial launch and have contributed work over multiple projects. So first, Vivian and Victoria worked in collaboration with 2 of our other mental health ambassadors, Sahar and Aska, to create a presentation highlighting the pros and cons of dark humor in relationship with society and mental health. So for the last 2 semesters, Vivian and Victoria have been working on deconstructing the romanticization surrounding OCD. In the fall, Vivian and Victoria collaborated with Sahar and Aska again to create a presentation highlighting the impact of OCD on an individual's mental health. Furthermore, this group worked to destigmatize misconceptions of OCD. They're often represented in pop culture and media. So for this semester, Vivian and Victoria continued their work on deconstructing the romanticization of OCD and even created a virtual presentation that is now available on the Mental Health Ambassadors YouTube channel. Next slide, please. So our mental health ambassadors, Gabe, Corin, and Mohammed, are newly added members who began their project this semester, actually. These ambassadors are focusing on the benefits of fitness and exercise in mental health. During their presentation, audiences learned about the important role of exercising towards positive mental health. And Gabe, Corin, and Mohammed also spoke on how to implement different areas of fitness, such as yoga and cardio work, into a daily scheduled routine. The Fitness and Mental Health group will also be presenting again in collaboration with the UAB Rec Center. So I encourage everyone to join this amazing event. It will be this Wednesday at noon. And for further details, please look at our social media page at UAB MHA. Next slide, please. So our final presentations group is the Disparities in Rural Mental Health, featuring Sahar and Azka. So Sahar and Azka again joined the program at the beginning of our initial launch and have worked on 3 projects over their time here. So Sahar and Azka first worked in collaboration with the Dark Humor group, as previously mentioned. For the fall semester, Sahar and Azka also worked on the Deconstructing the Romanticization surrounding OCD. And during this presentation, they highlighted the impact of OCD on an individual's mental health and worked on destigmatizing misconceptions surrounding OCD. For this semester, Sahar and Azka decided to focus and create a presentation on the disparities in rural mental health, specifically sharing opportunities to support and share resources for those in rural communities. All of these groups did a really great job, and it's been a really great pleasure to work with all these groups and also to work in collaboration with the social media teams and the events teams as well.
Thank you, Madeline. We will hear from Dua now, who will share about events as the events lead.
Hey everyone, I'm Dua. I am the events lead for the Mental Health Ambassadors. I worked in partnership with, again, Hannah for flyers and different things for events, but also with Madeline, presentations and events, since the Zoom format kind of overlapped this semester. So a lot of the things that you're gonna see, we both kind of spearheaded. The first one I'm going to highlight is Blazer Buddies, which features our 5 new mental health ambassadors that joined the program last semester. They made an event aiming to help people form friendships by supporting each other through their self-care goals. They had an initial event that paired up students based on things they had in common. And they followed up with emails, and they sent out an email about how to be a good accountability partner, and just making sure that everyone is following up with their goals and the goals they wanted to do for this semester. And they also have another event coming up this coming Thursday that will be a Kahoot to kind of try to get people to a little bit of change before finals. Next, we have the Let's Talk group. This group highlighted different topics that there's a lot of stigma around. So especially as college students, we tend to overthink about academics and different things like that. So it was a discussion-based event, and they had a list of questions which we went through and kind of discussed and had an open environment. And we had Dr. Lanzi moderating that discussion. And it was led by Zuha, Reshmi, and Naki. We also have the Make It Stick team, which you guys may have, this is an odd name. It's because we started it. It was me, Elena, Madison, and Ava, who started it back in 2019 when we were first, joined the Mental Health Ambassadors. And we gave out, you may have seen us in Stern giving out some buttons and stickers. And since then we have grown. Charlene joined our team last semester from another team. She had joined in the Mental Health Ambassadors at the initiation also. And then Elena joined us this semester, and Elena helped us highlight therapy and how it can be a great form of self-care. We also had an event in partnership with Dr. Hurst Weisschek, which was mindfulness meditation, and it was last week, and we really enjoyed that. Our final events group was the Wellness Wheel, and that was with Suma, Zeal, Morgan, Pooja, and Courtney. They have their second event coming up, so please join us this coming Wednesday. Their goal was to spin a wheel with some different self-care activities or just ways to kind of break out of that academic bubble that we're all stuck in, whether it's Zoom fatigue or just different things. And so we had the first event, we did Cahoots. It was, I think, a lot of competitive people, so it was pretty interesting. And this coming Wednesday, we have a movie night, which we will be showing just a bunch of different clips from different movies and discussing that. I'm so proud of everyone for everything you've been through. I know that we had to transition to online for some of the groups that had joined us last year. And those who joined us that weren't expecting events to be online, I'm proud that you guys were able to fit that format, and hopefully next year we'll be back in person.
I echo that. Yes, hopefully we'll be back in person, and what a wonderful job you all have done. And many thanks again to Dua for her leadership. Next, we'll hear about outreach and podcasts from Lavanya.
Hey guys, my name is Lavanya, and being the outreach lead for MHA, I've had the incredible opportunity to work with many of our fellow ambassadors to collaborate with organizations across campus and help reduce the stigma off campus as well. Next slide. So we actually have podcasts, which is a new form of reaching out to students across campus as well as off campus. And the podcast is called Archive, Our Lives, Our Journeys, Our Stories. And it allows people from a variety of backgrounds to share their personal stories and their mental health journeys. So though everyone's story looks different, some parts can be universally shared. And the episodes include various personal narratives as well as discussions with our communities branch. And the recordings of the podcast interviews can also be found on our Spotify page. So in our LJS podcast group, we have Caleb Sanders, Queenie Samaha, Tasia Williams, Alex Jones, Vishal Sutram, and Blair Lane. Next slide. And in our communities podcast group, we have Zoe, I'm just gonna say your first name, Zoe, I'm sorry, Elijah Quinones, Abby Kellogg, and Carson Schutt. So you guys can also see the flyers on the slide that show they actually focused on different episodes and different stories in their interviews, as well as their flyers and posts. Next slide. So as a part of outreaching to students this past semester, we hosted a group of presentations and discussions that were called our Mental Health Promotion Series. So we had Micah Harrell, who is the director of the wellness promotion at UAB, share with us the power of the peer, and Dr. Pruitt, who's actually a psychiatrist at UAB, teach us about various mental illnesses. And the third part of our promotion series was the student mental health discussion, which we hosted just recently, a few weeks ago, actually. Next slide. So one of our main outreach discussions, which we do as a part of Mental Health Ambassadors, is our student mental health discussions, which we hosted one this past semester and one last summer, actually. And these have allowed students to express their concerns and find support among fellow faculty and students, especially with all the obstacles students have expressed facing this past year with COVID and various other circumstances. And we had an awesome panel of faculty members to help moderate and address student concerns. So we look forward to having another student mental health discussion sometime, maybe this summer or in the fall. But thank you guys so much for any faculty who helped moderate, as well as students who joined us to express their concerns. We took all of those concerns into account, and we look forward to a brighter future.
Well, thank you, Lavanya, and thank you for all that you're doing to help support us in terms of having these discussions and for really leading our outreach efforts that span across all of our initiatives. And I wanted to welcome Destiny Cravens, who is our student lead, if she would like to say just a few words. She's joining from a class, and so we know we are students first. So Destiny, if you would like to just say hello.
Hi everyone, I'm Destiny. I serve as the lead for the Mental Health Ambassador Program, and I just want to congratulate everyone for their projects this past year. And, I'm very honored to have met all of you and work with each and every one of you, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for all of us next year.
Thank you. So appreciate you, Destiny. It's such a sort of a daunting, just awesome task to lead such a program as this. And again, I just want to thank each and every one of our mental health ambassadors and all of the work that you've done. It's just really just amazing to really sit back and reflect on where we were, this time last year, and just frankly, to think about all of what you guys have done and what you are doing and the impact that you're making. And I love this quote, as one person, you cannot change the world, but you can change the world for one person. And you guys are changing the world, and you're changing the world for a lot of one persons. You're changing the lives of a lot of people. And I just feel so fortunate to have met each and every one of you. Our university is better because of you, and our opportunities are so much better. And I'm just quite thankful for all of you and the support of our deans and our leadership and student counseling services to allow us to continue on and have such an impactful program. So thank you all. And I am so impressed that we did this in less than an hour. We had, quite a 2-hour tour last time, but I think that we are learning how to be efficient in our work. And I just would, because we have a couple minutes, if any of the mental health ambassadors wants to turn on their screen or say something, I feel I just welcome it. So if anyone would like to say hello or anything, please feel free to do that. And again, thank you all for all that you do. And we are so very fortunate.